I recently saw I Want to Dance with Somebody, which I absolutely loved. And I have to say, I was um I didn't know what was going to be the treatment of Robyn Crawford. I frankly didn't know if she was in the movie. I had Naomi Aki on the podcast before, and we talked a little bit about it. So I was a lot of it just like it caught me off guard in a good way. I was like, oh, I really didn't expect this. For you as a director of this movie, why was it important for you to sort of center the relationship with Robyn Crawford, who is Whitney Houston's longtime personal friend. And they had a very full relationship, as I know some people know about. But a lot of directors might have been a little hesitant about trying to center that story. So, why was it important for you to center that relationship?
Oh, I wouldn't have done the movie if she was not one of the central characters. I think that this goes way back because, I knew Whitney a little bit. I
Hmm.
wrote 2 screenplays for Whitney. And we knew, even though we didn't know her or know them like that, we knew as young artists in New York, we just knew about Whitney and Robyn. Like, it's like people, we just, somehow knew about it. I can't even remember the first time I heard that, but it was important to me because when you look at, she had a lot of complex relationships. I look at them as love stories because truly they were love stories. There were the love story with her family, the love story with Bobby, the love story with Clive, and the love story with Robyn. Um, so many of her loving relationships were a little fraught, and
Hmm.
complex, and some of them were dysfunctional. And I think in some ways the relationship with Robyn was the least dysfunctional. It was a real, Robyn had her back, and there was something pure, in that friendship that was very important to me. Um, where some of the other relationships, which were real, which were powerful, which were so meaningful in her life, like a relationship where their mother was still, these relationships were still a little fraught. And I thought that Robyn, in some way, it was the simplest of the love stories.
Mm. Now, would you have, you said that you wouldn't have done the film unless you could in some way center that relationship. How much maybe easier or better was it that the family also, I think before you even signed on, at least that's what I read, that they'd given their permission for this, for that relationship, Whitney's relationship with Robyn to be discussed and to be a part of the story. How much easier or better did that make things?
Well, it was still complicated to navigate it and just
Hmm.
to balance it and how much and what exactly are we saying. But I really commend them for that. I really commend them. Um, Especially Pat. I just think that was brave and honest, of her, and I really commend the estate for wanting to tell a balanced story.
You, as you said a moment ago, you knew Whitney Houston a little bit. Do you remember the first time you met her and what
Oh,
that was like?
absolutely. Oh, yeah. You
Kind
meet
of
somebody
hard to
like
forget, right?
Whitney Houston, you don't forget it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a specific circumstance because I was coming to pitch her a movie that I wanted her to star in, and her entire team was there in a conference room, and in walks Whitney, and it's definitely a day off, she's in sweats, and it changed me, and in some ways really informed the way that I look at celebrity, and was very instrumental in how I approached the movie, because this was a woman, it was just a woman, and she was tired, exhausted, and I could feel the weight of celebrity on her and how uncomfortable a burden that could sometimes be. I could feel the human black womanness of her, and on that level, she moved me quite tremendously.
When you were tasked with obviously directing this film, as you know, this is a big undertaking because so many people still do love, Whitney Houston. What did you want people to most take away from it?
It was something about that. It was like there's a woman here, and if we understand that she's a person like we are with struggles and who's complex, who has loving relationships that aren't all perfect, if we understand her on a woman level, on a human level, on a Black woman level, we can even more greatly appreciate the incredible gift that she gave us. You know, sometimes when you look at somebody as just a celebrity or an idol, um, it's a very superficial understanding of who that person is. And it becomes easy to attack them. You know, right now we're living in an age where people just attack each other all the time. And I like to, it was great that the movie touched on that to me. You know, how
Mm.
even the Black community kind of went after her, you know. Um, we can be cruel sometimes and without even bothering to understand who people are based on a
Was
very
there
superficial understanding.
was there anything about her that you learned that stayed with you, uh, as you were directing this film that maybe you didn't know before?
I think there were a lot of little things that I didn't know before. I was very moved by her relationship with her mother. I was very, very moved by her process with Clive and how involved she was in that process, how involved she was in kind of specifying, knowing what was a Whitney Houston song. I was very moved by how she could speak to a moment in time. I think, in a way, most of us don't really quite understand the moment that we're in or that we're speaking to. We don't overly analyze where we are in history. And there was something about Whitney, you know, knowing the importance of this moment she was in, singing the national anthem, knowing the importance of being the first Black artist to sing to a free South Africa, and Nelson Mandela, and just in intersecting with these moments in time in a way that was so profound and inspirational. Those are kind of the things that I take away.
Yeah, that part I thought was really noteworthy, because it reminded me of something I thought about Michael Jackson is the genius of Michael Jackson actually gets downplayed a lot. And I think the genius of Whitney Houston, I think you were able to really illustrate that. Like you said, like her being able to hear a note and know, like, oh, no, no, it should be this way, not that way. And
Hmm.
her being very, just very empowered and very direct about how she, not just how she wanted to sing, but how she wanted to put together a song. And so I thought that was like a really important note that you made sure to tap into with the film. Far as you know, was there anyone maybe in her camp that was unhappy with the movie?
I don't think so. I mean, we went back and forth quite a bit, you know, through 10 months of editing. So everybody saw the movie many times. You know, everybody saw many cuts of the movie. There was a lot of discussion on many cuts of the movie. There were fights, you know, and you know, negotiation is what I would say on what was in the movie. I think that everybody was pretty happy with. You know, we had come to a place of some agreement. You never agree on absolutely everything, but I think that no, I think in terms of me and the estate and the producers, we were all happy with it.